So we're highlighting women brewers, which by the way, fun fact, women brewers are known in the industry as Brewers. Interesting thing that I just found out.
Right?
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 I'm glad you know that. Some people just think it's female brewer.
Right?
Right?
Lady, it's like, nope, it's still just brewers.
Your role, though, I mean, a lot has been made of your role and the work that you've done there at Capitol and the acclaim that you've very rightly deserved over these years. Because when you started out a couple of years ago, I mean, it is now and was then a very much male-dominated industry. Can I ask you about like getting started and how you went from somebody that was behind the bar to then making your Schwarzbier is like that was the first one that put you on the map and made you a superstar, right?
First recipe.
Can you kind of walk me through all of that?
Absolutely. So I think it kind of starts in college. My degree was originally intended to go into kind of the medical industry, very science focused. But I had been working in restaurants and bartending since high school. So as I was kind of getting towards the end of my undergrad college career and realizing that I was about to be, it's one thing working in Madison, and I think a lot of tourists just assume everyone in Madison is a student, but there's plenty of people just live there after they graduate college too, or move there even after, so at a certain point I was just kind of like, hey, like I've kind of defined myself as a student for a long time, and I expected to maybe do some more schooling after undergrad, and really just fell in love with the beer and brewing scene. I worked for the Old Fashioned, which was all Wisconsin beers. So I was getting to meet a lot of the brewery owners. A lot of the brewmasters would come in and do events just to kind of meet people. And it was really inspiring to me to see our general manager bringing beers in from smaller breweries, kind of more in outstate.
Now, women that you've worked with there at Capitol, I know your very first beer, when you made it, some of the malt that you used, I know that it was important it was like your first recipe, right? And you had all Wisconsin malts, which was an important thing. You had women who were there in the malt process, and as far as like sales, where you got your malt from. You had help from another woman designing it. Was that a conscious thing, or was that just your circle of friends that you had to kind of help you?
I knew I definitely wanted all the ingredients to come from Wisconsin. And I mean, and part of it is it just so happened that the technical director from Malt Europe, who I had met through, I think I had met her at Craft Brewers Conference when I had gone the year prior, just because we had been purchasing a bunch of malt from them anyways. It's all malted in Milwaukee. And then there's a couple other people on staff there that it just so happened to be, oh, hey, like, that was kind of an accident. But then so the graphic designer is actually my boss at the time. His wife was in graphic design. And so we're like, hey, like, rather than just use our regular guy who's been doing all of our, we wanted it to be a little bit different. We wanted to get a different flavor. So like, and she's so much, I loved working with her. So that was again, kind of like the next person that just also happened to be a woman and was the right choice for the job. So I think that's the other thing too, that the amount of times sometimes I worry that, and so I've hired quite a few women brewers also. And so I worry that I'm having like a reverse like discrimination effect on hiring, but kind of I look back and like, no, like when I had an open position that I was looking for someone, that all the women that I've hired, they were the right person for the job every time, and sometimes it's, 1 out of every 10 resumes and applications we get might be a female. And so but then again, I think there's just so many people who want to get into the brewing industry. And I've noticed that all the female applicants either have some sort of education or a lot of, self-study and a lot of stuff that really they're really getting out there and trying, not just like, oh, I homebrewed a couple batches and I felt like applying. So now I don't have to worry about that.
The Pink Boots Society that you've been very active in for the last couple of years, I know that's, part of what the mission is there is to make sure that you're networking and including. Can you talk about the role that's played in kind of informing the decisions you've made as a brewer, and as far as networking and making sure that you're bringing other women along with you?
Yeah, I think when I first started, I never have felt like I was not able to ask a dude a question, or if anything, I think I maybe was kind of offered a lot of opportunities that maybe I wouldn't have if I wasn't a girl. Because yeah, again, there's not a lot of, well, now definitely more, but back in 2012, there definitely wasn't as many serious brewers who were women who were, you know, had education or training backgrounds. So I think that definitely helped me stand out above the rest in a handful of different opportunities. So that was definitely a positive for me, but I know that's definitely not the case for all women out there. I know there's a lot of women who might work in either the front of house at a brew pub or on some, you know, some other level, and they do want to, they are interested in getting into production, and they have met some roadblocks. So so part of, and just getting to hear more of that, I think just because I didn't really, I was never the brunt end of, you know, gender discrimination in my industry or in my market, because also we've got just a fantastic community up here. And so it's been really, really cool just working with all the Wisconsin brewers. But so for me to hear some stories that other women have gone through, and just to kind of learn that it's not always about me and what I need. It's you know, the purpose of Pink Boots is to help educate women to advance their careers, but also just to be a support system and to be that informational as well as emotional support system sometimes.
I think it's awesome that we're talking about 2012 and you kind of have this back in the old days mentality where it's 2021 now. You're talking about 2012 like it was a lifetime ago, which it was, to be sure, but I mean, in the scheme of things, kind of gives you some hope for where we might be in 2032. What do you think that's going to look like, 2032, for women in brewing in the next 10 years? What kind of progress do you think we'll make?
So this is something that actually the founder of Pink Boots Society, her husband also works in the beer industry, and he had come to Capitol to show us some stuff from the company he works for, and I really like. He said, you know, maybe this might not be a popular opinion, but like maybe the purpose of Pink Boots should be to disband someday. That there are like it just becomes a non-conversation because women and men, you don't look at it at that anymore. We all are just brewers.
Well, Brewmaster, the woman who's responsible for this television show, who got us on the air and has kept us on the air all these years, Mary Lingenfelter. I know she was talking to you before we did our interview about coming to visit you in South Carolina. So I will say this, I look forward to meeting you in person because let me tell you something about that one. She doesn't take no for an answer. So we'll see you soon. Best of luck to you. Thanks so much for your time and keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's great talking to you.
Awesome. Same here, Ashley. Take it easy. Cheers.